wanted to make a quick video, unscheduled. This is definitely not my regularly scheduled video. I haven't been able to do too many day in the life videos because I have not been feeling quite like myself for especially the last 4 days, but definitely for about 10 days. At first it started when I woke up with a really bad asthma attack, what I thought was an asthma attack. I was so disoriented that it took me probably 10 minutes to realize what was happening, and I used my inhaler. I used my inhaler a couple times before I got it under control, and still I didn't feel right. That was like a couple days before Thanksgiving. For more than a week, I would say I had migraines almost every single day. Some of them were really full-blown, really bad migraines, but a lot of them were just, they felt like migraines because they were only on one side, but they were just really bad headaches, except for the position was like a migraine. I really was thinking of them as just being migraines, something hormonal was going on, or it was some like allergen food thing. Milk really triggers migraines for me. Not all dairy things, but milk specifically. And so I thought maybe I'd eaten something. That was pretty much what I was thinking. And then on Wednesday, so 4 days ago, it changed. I woke up and Patrick and Tessie both had fevers and glossy eyes and red cheeks. And I felt fine that day. That morning I felt pretty good until about 10 o'clock in the morning. But when I woke up I felt fine. 10 o'clock I suddenly felt dizzy, and I didn't have a cough or anything, but every time I stood up I felt like I was gonna faint. And all of a sudden I was shaky. I didn't feel good anymore. So that was really the beginning of this. I've talked about before that when I get sick my skin hurts, and I felt like that. My skin hurt. I ached all over. I felt like I was getting a fever. The second day I probably would have had a fever, but I took Tylenol in the morning because everything hurt so much. And an hour later when I took my temperature, it was 99.7. Not a fever then, but I probably would have had one if I hadn't taken Tylenol. Still achy all day. Every time I stood up, like it would actually go black at the edges of my vision. Not really shortness of breath, but just hard to breathe deeply, and my back hurt like right where my lungs were, and it started to hurt on my right side under my ribs. I still wasn't coughing or anything until that night. I think I started coughing for the first time. Not bad, just like this dry cough. Trying to get anything done was really, really hard. I would try to stand up. I was like standing up for a minute to sweep and then sitting down. The house was just, it was really bugging me. Everyone was helping me a lot. Paul was helping me a lot. Sadie was helping me a lot. But there were still things that I wanted to do. And Paul was making dinner. Sadie was making lunch. I was only making breakfast, which was basically cereal. But there's just stuff that I wanted to get done. I hate it when the floor looks bad, when it isn't swept up. And I mean, Sadie needs to go to school. I was doing just math and reading with the boys. I wasn't doing other stuff with them. Kind of cutting back to like the basics for right now until I felt like well enough to actually do more. But I'd look out there and like Tessie just dumped something on the floor, and I would get the broom and sweep it up and sit down, sweep it up, sit down. I don't want everybody else to have to do everything. So that was yesterday. By nighttime, I told Paul I thought I needed to go get tested. We didn't want to wait in a car line with kids for like 3 hours, and I knew I couldn't drive myself because I'd almost fainted so many times, like really, really almost fainted. Like my vision was going black. And so we went to urgent care. We called them first and told them I had symptoms and talked to them about what needed to happen. And I went in, and it was the sort of thing where I went and signed in, went back to the car, went back in and registered, went back to the car, and then they called me on the phone and had me walk in. And I went in there and told the nurse, and I thought it was just going to be a test, but then the doctor came in and went over everything with me, and he went through everything that had happened, everything I just told you basically, and he was concerned. And he listened to my lungs and pressed on my lungs. I ended telling him everything. I said, so I thought I needed to get tested. And he said, but what about treatment? Don't you think you need some treatment because you're sick? You've been sick for 10 days, and this is probably turned bacterial in your lungs at this point, and there's a real chance that you have pneumonia right now. And the thing was, I've been so sick so many times and gone to urgent care and hospitals and doctor's offices so many times, feeling so much worse than I feel right now, having such a hard time breathing, coughing up blood, and so many times I've been told to take Robitussin and gone home and not been taken seriously by so many doctors that I was shocked when he actually listened and cared. I don't know, I was just shocked to actually have someone take me seriously and not just blow me off and tell me to go home and go to sleep and rest for a while. That there was actually someone saying there was something that they could do and that they wanted to help. So they had me go for a chest x-ray and then get a shot of steroids, and then they came and gave me a prescription for antibiotics and steroids. And then the doctor came in and said that it looked like I had pneumonia. It looked like I had pneumonia developing in my right lung, and they did a COVID test that was sent off. It's gonna be so sad. Not sad. I'm gonna feel, man, if I get COVID after staying in this house since March, briefly leaving the house and staying in the car while Paul runs in and gets donuts, and occasionally, sometimes once a week, running into the store to pick up a few things while mostly ordering our groceries online and otherwise not leaving the house, except sometimes going through a drive-through and getting things, will be so disheartening. We've been so incredibly careful. But yeah, I guess that's how it is. In the last 8 years, well, Patrick's 7, so in the last 7.5 years, I was hospitalized twice for viral reasons, viruses. So when this whole COVID thing started, I was careful. And I was careful because Sadie was hospitalized for basically after a cold when her lung collapsed. So when people would say things about it just being people with pre-existing conditions, I mean, I heard them. I noticed. The doctor said before I left that if I got any worse at all, I need to go straight to the ER. Anyways, that is it for today. I don't know if this even made sense. I have a little oximeter things, and my oxygen levels are kind of on the low side, so hopefully it did. Hopefully this is not like just rambling. It might be. That's it for today. If you like this video, we'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. Hopefully more normal videos soon, but if there aren't, I don't have much on backlog. Probably not be as much of a vlogmas unless I have a sudden recovery. They did give me those steroids and the antibiotics, so hopefully we'll see. I'll try to keep you updated as long as I can, as much as I am able to. Anyways, that's it for today.